Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Grant Holcomb, and I sit on the National AGOYO board. Welcome to our March panel, Board Positions in the Guild / Serving in Leadership Roles. I'm joined with Nicole Marane, Laura Ellis, Elizabeth George, Wyatt Smith. All right, well, let's get started. How about we all go around and just introduce ourselves, share some things about yourselves, your education, career position, any current or past leadership roles you've served, and anything else you'd like to share. Wyatt, do you want to start?
I I will say this is a laundry list. I'll keep it short. But anyways, I'm Wyatt Smith. Um, I have 3 degrees in organ performance from University of South Dakota, Yale Institute of Sacred Music, and University of Washington here in Seattle. And currently, for employment, I have several positions at Epiphany Parish of Seattle, where I'm the Associate Director of Music and the Director of Music Academy. And I am also the affiliate artist for organ and harpsichord at the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma. And when we aren't in a pandemic, I'm often traveling for concerts also. So in terms of guild positions, this has just been a whole slew. My first one was as chair of the old Region 6 nominating committee, and a million things in between: National Marketing Committee, the National Task Force for the Young Organists that resulted in AGOYO, and currently the coordinator of our next national convention here in Seattle in July of 2022. So there you go.
Super, thank you. Elizabeth, how about you?
Well, I have been now with the AGO, I want to say all close to maybe 19, 20 months as Director of Member Engagement and Chapter Development. And it's very funny, I joined a officer meeting the other night of a chapter, and I did hear an audible gasp when I said, no, I'm not an organist. But what I am is someone who's had a lot of history working in positions that you have as volunteers for chapters. I know what it's like to have to balance a professional career, personal career with volunteer jobs. And my passion is leadership development. And I've worked a lot with organizations, associations that have been chapter structured. And I am thrilled to be with the AGO. I was a singer, I was an opera singer. And so my experience in dealing with organists is following them when they conduct me in an anthem.
Wonderful, wonderful. Laura, how about you?
Hi, yeah. So long story, I guess. Undergrad from Luther College in Decorah, Iowa. I'm a native Minnesotan. And then I went and got my master's and doctorate degree at the University of Kansas. And along the way have taught at the university level in Arkansas, in Texas, and now my present position is at the University of Florida in Gainesville, where I guess, goodness, as you count it up, I've been here 15, 16, 17 years now. So I've been here in Florida for a while. I was thinking back on my positions in the Guild, and I think the earliest one I might have had is we had a student organization in my undergraduate days at Luther College. I don't know if I had an official position at that point, but I know that we had a chapter, a student chapter. And I've gone through as sub-deans, deans. I was regional counselor for the Southeast for a number of years. And right now, presently, chairing the National Nominating Committee. So that's what I'm doing right now. So send me names.
Super, thank you. All right, Nicole?
Hi, I'm Nicole Marane, and I am from Australia. So I did my undergraduate in organ at the Canberra School of Music, which is part of the Australian National University. And then traveled to America to Eastman School of Music for my master's and my doctorate. And pretty much started doing AGO positions immediately. But the first leadership role I had was on the committee of the New Organist. And that soon became 2 organizations because the pipe organ encounters was what was taking my committee the most time. So then I became the director of the pipe organ encounters. And then I was the convention coordinator for the Atlanta 2020 to be convention. And I'm now the counselor for conventions and enjoying working with Wyatt for Seattle and everybody else.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, let's get moving on then. The first point we'd like to hit is I'd like for you to talk a bit about your first leadership position and what skills and benefits you gleaned from being in that role. Did someone mentor you in this role, and how have these skills and benefits assisted you in your studies and careers? Does anyone want to take it and just run with it?
I'll run with it. As I said, I think my first taste of it was as an undergraduate, but my first, I would call official role was when I moved to Arkansas, and it was a very small chapter. And I think many of us will run into this. No one else wanted to do it. So you move to a new part of the country and you're like the new face. They're like, okay, why don't you do this? And I think I would encourage people, if that happens to them, take it on. You learn a lot about, you learn who the people are in the region, in the area, in the city. Particularly if you're newer in a position, you learn what the Guild is all about. You get good skills of interacting with people, good management skills, and all around it's a good way to get your name around and get your name out in the profession. So I would encourage anyone to do that. So I got kind of thrown in, but it was a good throw in. It was a small chapter. So that's my start.
Excellent. Anybody have anything to add?
So I can say that I took on the role of registrar in the Atlanta chapter. I didn't mention that as a leadership thing because I wasn't the dean of the chapter. But as registrar, I definitely was mentored to the people that were doing it before and from everyone in national office. That was my first connection, I feel like, really to national office with the pipe organ encounters. It's very much a partnership and I love it. It's very exciting and getting to know everybody. And the registrar, you get to know your chapter. You really get to know everybody, which I wouldn't have if I wasn't in that position.
Excellent.
I'll follow up. My first position in a leadership role is now as the coordinator for Seattle 2022. And to follow up on Laura, it was very much, I moved to Seattle in 2015, and at intermission at an all-Bach concert at St. Mark's Cathedral, I was approached by the dean and I saw the look in her face and I'm like, don't say a word, I'll call you tomorrow. I called her and I told her I'd do it. And it has been a fabulous way to get to know the members of the Pacific Northwest and also get to work with wonderful people at the national level. And just for Nicole, she is my cheerleader. If I ever get down on the convention, I call her and she always just lifts my spirits. It's fabulous.
Happy to help.
Excellent.
You know what I think is so wonderful about being a member of a professional organization is that you meet people that have your back, that are there to mentor you, to nurture you. I was thrown very much into a leader position, not unlike what you experienced, and moved into president-elect, which I guess would be sub-dean here, and then served as president for a chapter. And what I realized was how important mentors were and how I could assess the skill set of our board and realize that sometimes it's good to have a team of rivals and that we can complement each other in a skill that may be lacking. And it's an opportunity to really grow personally and professionally. So I encourage volunteer leadership to everyone in the AGO.
Super, thank you. All right, well, moving on. Why don't we talk a bit about the importance of involving young organists, particularly in leadership roles. This could be at the chapter, regional, or national levels. Yeah. All right, Nicole.
Did you have more to say? I'm sorry, Grant. No, I was just going to say we need all organists of all ages. We need bright ideas, new ideas, old ideas. And so I think it's very important to have all ages, especially young organists, in all levels, national levels, local levels.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I would certainly concur with Nicole there. I mean, the organization is the future, and the future is the bright minds that are coming through that are graduating from schools right now. I mean, we need the mentors, like Elizabeth mentioned. We need people to sort of give a little bit of background about what the organization is. But certainly, and we've seen in these times of COVID, we're pressing forward in social media. We're pressing forward with technology, and it's the younger organists that are going to have those skills, and they're going to have the ideas that the organization can use to move forward. So I think it's really important to tap into that energy and tap into that knowledge that, frankly, I have to work pretty hard to figure out how to do. And it's second nature to a number of like the students that I work with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll add that this call, I think, is a great picture of people and members of the full realm of ages. I'll just say, for years, I was used to being the youngest person in the room. And here, I'm no longer that. And we have Grant leading this wonderful panel. So take that for what it's worth. And we can't announce too much yet about the convention, but one of the underlying themes is really giving a foothold to the next generation while honoring the greats in our field. So it's something I'm very excited about, very passionate about. I am very aware that I'm only 30 and I'm leading a national convention. And I have so much help from the national level and from chapters, etc. So there you go.
Well, I'll just add that, I mean, we need to build our young organist membership. That's the future of the AGO. If there was a silver lining, and there weren't many to the pandemic, it was the fact that it pulled the AGO kicking and screaming into the 21st century from a technology viewpoint. And, you know, Nicole and her wonderful team transforming the national convention into this beautiful week of Organ Fest was tremendous. And we have to bring those young organists with us, and they bring a new perspective. It's very interesting. I'm working on a We Want You Back campaign. We want to get some of our members back and some of our younger members back. And I'm not sure if James Thomas, our executive director, is going to agree with this slogan, but this is not your father's AGO. This is a new organization with a fresh look. We don't want to throw out the past. That's important, but we need to build, and the way we can build on it is with young people who have fresh ideas.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now the next point is, it seems that there's oftentimes a common misconception that someone needs to have, 30 years of experience to take a leadership position, or multiple degrees, and this is it's unfortunate, but I was wondering if we could maybe talk a little bit and maybe debunk this a little bit.
Yeah, I think I can debunk it a little bit. I think society's changing a little bit now. I mean, no longer is it only one path that takes you to one goal. In education, and particularly here at Florida, and I'm sure at other schools, a well-rounded person is really what's going to have the person that's going to have the tools to work in our present day society. So I think while there are people who take the path, like a few of us here on the panel that have gone straight through to do the doctoral degree, I don't know if I would take that same path today. I don't know that I can say I would take that same path today. So I think it's important to have people with all backgrounds. I think the overriding thing is love and commitment for the organ and sacred music, and moving in that direction. I think, the number of letters or what letters they are after your name is not quite as important as your passion for what we do.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anyone else have anything to add? All right, Nicole.
And it's always a team. It's not just one person. There is always a team of people. And so, you might have a certain skill set that is useful and people need, whether that is combining people and bringing them together as a coordinator or a dean. And, if you don't have the experience, there's someone else on your team that has the experience or has the multiple degrees. It's not a job description of you must have this degree in this instrument. You don't have to play the organ. You can be an organ lover. You can be Elizabeth said, you can be anyone if you have the passion for the organ.
Absolutely.
That's so true. That is so true, Nicole. When I had the ability to travel pre-COVID, I can remember visiting with a chapter and a woman saying that she had served on as an officer. I think she was a newsletter editor for 8 years. And I said, well, are you interested in serving in other positions? And she said, oh, I don't think I'm ready to serve as dean yet. And I thought to myself, after 8 years, take the plunge. It's not you. You've got people around you that can support you. And she was obviously a very passionate, talented woman. And I thought, oh, if this is what our other chapter leaders are thinking, we're not going to get anywhere. So I think you do need to be brave. And what I tell chapters who have had to replace leaders and officers mid-year, if the passion is there, we can give you the resources and the training that you need and the mentorship. And that's the wonderful thing about this organization, this association, more than any I've ever experienced, is the various layers of volunteer leadership, from the regional counselors to the national council members, to the district conveners. There are so many people that are there to help others succeed. So I strongly encourage, and just don't sit by the sidelines. You need to be asked. You really do.
I will echo all of these statements. I remember back, oh God, years ago, but the first position being chair of a regional nominating committee, I don't know if they agree with this memory, but I remember being cornered by a certain regional counselor who saw potential at cornered me at a national convention, asked me to do this role, and this is something that I look for in my friends and colleagues in the AGO is the potential, whether or not they've done the job in the past, in planning with the convention. If you can email and you love the organ, I can find a job for you and help you do it. And this goes chapter level, and it's something that's been a thread throughout my guild service thus far.
Wonderful. Those are all excellent points. Okay, well, now let's move on to the last point that we want to touch for today. What advice would you offer to a young organist that is on the fence about accepting a leadership position in the guild? If there's one, go for it.
I should have prepared a banner. Just big screensaver. Do it. Just do it. Take the leap. Even if you're hesitant, just do it. It's worth it. The people you get to meet, the people you get to work with, and the support is there. And sometimes you have to go through a few people to get the right answer, but there's always someone with an answer for you and always someone to help.
So I'll add to that slogan and just say, I've said this so many times over the last 18 months, we've got your back. You're not being thrown into a den of lions. We've got your back. Your peers, the volunteers, headquarters, we're not going to let you fail. And it's going to be a wonderful journey. And if you do fail, it's fine. You'll learn from it.
Excellent.
And I was going to add that if you're on the fence, that might mean that you've already been asked. And maybe you're on the fence because you think that that's not your skill level. And I think it's also okay to talk about that and say, I do want to be in a leadership role, but maybe Is there something else, or is the timeline different? And on the flip side, if someone has not asked you, but you want to be in a leadership position, that part is easy. We want to hear from you. Everybody wants to hear from you. Tell somebody, tell someone on the board, tell your teacher, tell anybody, and they will connect you and be able to get you a leadership position.
Excellent.
And just, I'm just going to say one last thing. As one moves forward and builds that resume, part of building yourself for a career is building your resume, and leadership positions in the Guild can help that. So not only is it supporting what we do as an organization, it's building the resume for your future. So consider that as whether you're thinking about doing it or not.
Definitely on that point, Laura. Yes. Yes, that might be the key point. If you don't think that you have that skill set, but maybe you don't have anything on your resume.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderful points, everyone. Well, thank you all for joining us today. This has been wonderful, and really, really appreciate this.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.